Hi, we are
Hi,
here back once again. This is the Overly Critical Hyperanalytical Movie Club. I'm Wolfie, and I'm here with my boy.
I'm Matty. Hi.
We're here to talk about how much we love movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope that if you made it here, you also like the same type of entertainment as we do. Anyway, I got the Endless soundtrack playing in the background. In this episode, we're going to review Synchronic by the dynamic filmmaking duo Benson and Moorhead. Um,
Yes.
who have made the films Spring, which is on Tubi, and I still need to watch it. They've also made The Endless. It's on Netflix. If you know, after this, go watch it. Here's the soundtrack. We're playing it. Um, but
And then
Synchronic, we watched, and we're also going to watch some trailers and review those. And I have one little news tidbit. There was a bunch of stuff about comic book movies and superheroes and stuff, but stuff you already heard a million times before, and I haven't watched WandaVision yet, so you know,
oh, I watched it.
that's where I'm at. So I wasn't planning on talking about it. However, I did want to mention that it is the 20th anniversary. Hold on, I feel like this music might be a little annoying. It's an ad. I don't pay for YouTube. Anyway, so our first little news tidbit is that Donnie Darko, the classic film from my teenage years, it's constantly finding a new audience. It's a great little sci-fi brain melter, I think. Lots of people like to write it off and be like, I don't know what that movie is about. Not worth explaining. But it's a movie I feel like keeps on giving with every viewing. Every time I watch it, I figure out something new or have a new idea about it. It's a type of film that only comes along every so often, every now and again. Wouldn't you say, Maddie? How do you
I
feel about Donnie
agree.
Darko?
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw it. I watched it before. When did it come out? What? So 20 years. When was that? Math.
Yeah, math. I can't count. That I didn't
Uh,
get to this
I
point
think
yet.
my dad. I
Counting.
think we rented it at our video store before I got to college, and then I was like, oh, this is a cool little movie, and I didn't really understand about like indie films. I was
Uh,
just like, I thought these. I didn't know how like what this was. I was like, this is pretty good, and it's not a major motion picture. This is weird. And then I get to college, and all you fools are like, this movie's amazing, and it was like a huge college movie.
yeah.
And I was
I
like, wow, I
this
actually
was
saw that
I saw
before I went
Donnie
to college.
Darko I saw Donnie Darko like right before I left for school, and it just made a huge impact because it was so hauntingly atmospheric, and it was like I had known Jake Gyllenhaal from like October Sky or something, but I was like, yeah, whatever. But when he was Donnie Darko, it was just like such an anomalous little movie to come out of nowhere, and
2001 is when it
2001.
came
That's
out.
right. That's right. I was a junior in high school, and but it was a good film, and it molded a lot of like the kind of stuff that I really get into in films these days, you know. And we're talking about Benson and Moorhead films here, and I think there's a lot of similarities with the way
Hmm.
that those guys make films that Richard Kelly was kind of experimenting with in Hollywood back in the
Where
day.
he at? Where he
Yeah, I
at?
know. But with that being said, today Jake Gyllenhaal he put out this little tweet here um, about about the. I'm gonna pause the music for a second and read his little blurb on Instagram. He posted the screenplay from Donnie Darko, his shooting script, which is really cool to see. All these little notes and things. Have to go over that a little bit later with a fine tooth comb. But we got some cool Donnie Darko image, and he had this to say: "Pulled out my script and some artifacts from Donnie Darko." Let me catch my breath. It was released 20 years ago today. It's a film that changed my life and my career, and it's been unreal to watch this story find afterlives with new audiences and new generations. And yet, what Donnie said to Roberta Sparrow is still true. There is so much to look forward to. Thank you all to the fans who've come up to me over the years with that confused look on their faces and asked me, what the fuck is Donnie Darko about? Happy 20th, Donnie. Let's keep confusing people. Here's to 20 more. Hell
Yep.
yeah, Jakey Jillies. That's the boy right there. Yeah. Um, I love Donnie Darko. And Richard Kelly had this to say in a 2017 interview about the ominous rabbit in the film, a detail that I thought was pretty interesting that could have went either way. He said, when we brought the rabbit on set, that was a moment where I knew I was either going to live or die by the rabbit and how people responded to it. Everyone just got quiet on the set. Everyone was like, this is really intense. So I knew it was working, and I felt the sense of relief. I could look around, and the makeup artist and the production assistants and the second AD, they were all just really freaked out about it. Steven Poster, my cinematographer, came up to me and he was like, Rich, I wasn't sure about the rabbit, but now I get it. Woo! I mean, lots of people still don't get it. I'm going to go ahead and act like I have street cred and be like, yo, I totally get Donnie Darko and I can explain it to you in conversation. Maybe we'll get into it here. But also a lot of people don't are in that zone where they feel like they don't. Do you feel like you get Donnie Darko or do you just enjoy it?
I just enjoy it. It's been many, many years since I've seen it. But I think I don't think it was ever super confusing to me. I mean, it's definitely a weird movie, but I would have to watch it again. I mean, I might see it now and be like, I thought I knew what was going on. I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, of course you sound, not you, but like somebody like me sounds like kind of a pretentious hipster being like, I totally get it, you know, and like we're trying to explain it to somebody. I feel like I do, like kind of similar what you're saying. I feel like in the end of it all, he makes a choice, you know, and he gets a glimpse of how things could be possibly and makes a choice. And by the end of it, it's just, you know, even though the storytelling isn't very confusing or very like too starkly artistically, like here's a bucket and then here's a flower and then here's a thing, you know, like some movies kind of make you work for it with a bunch of different imagery. But Donnie Darko was like a brisk Hollywood movie that turned out to be so fucking weird and sticks with you, you know, not to mention the soundtrack. What's your favorite part of the soundtrack on that movie? What's your favorite scene?
I mean, that whole soundtrack is sick. I think the one song that stands out is the cover of Mad World by Gary Jules. It's just it's a great cover. And I mean, a lot of people like that song, and you know, the more I hear it, I'm like, oh God, I can't believe they even like that. But I sing along to it, and I nod my head a little bit. I get it; it's good. But that whole soundtrack, like, I mean, because I was like, oh, that's a great song. I mean, like, just a lot of those songs that are in it, I had never heard before, which made me like, you know, when I saw it, like in high school, it made me kind of do some research on the internet about like, oh, well, I'm going to look up the soundtrack. And then it kind of opened my world to bands like The Church and stuff like that I'd never Echo and the Bunnymen and stuff like that I never really heard those albums and stuff. So, I mean, I love those bands now and you know, I'll throw those albums on every now and again. They're just good.
I always liked that new wave sound. I knew I did, but I feel like around this time when I was really getting into music as well, around 2001. So I feel like it definitely sparked a heavier interest in like new wave style of music, which I totally love quite a bit.
Did you ever watch the director's cut?
I did. I don't prefer the director's cut by any means to the
music changes are terrible.
Cut. Yeah. I feel like there's a little bit of like Richard Kelly kind of maybe needing some of that stuff. More of that stuff, but what was I saying? Sorry, I was getting a phone call at the same time. Go ahead.
I'm glad that he got to do his director's cut of like what his true vision of the movie was, but I think the thing that like some of my favorite movies they face these things that happen in them, and then they have to make choices that, in my opinion, made the movie better. So he didn't get to use the music he liked that he saw in these key moments, so he had to use these other tracks from different artists or the same artist but not the same song, and I think it worked better. You know, right. But that also could be because I'd seen that movie after I saw it multiple times, and then to watch the director cut years later, I could have just been like, I hate the new version. It's not the same. I don't like new things. Right. Don't touch it.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. I felt like this is what I was going to try and say before I got distracted, is I felt like he was trying to spoon feed a little bit more of some of the conceptual stuff that he was trying to get at with the director's cut. Yeah. And it ended up feeling like over bloated. I'm not gonna fuck with the music right now. It felt a little over bloated because of that. The director's cut was really, it was like too much where you really didn't need any more additional stuff. You know, it's the cut that he says he prefers, but honestly, I like the theatrical cut. I think there were some people on the sidelines as well, adding to like whoever edited the theatrical cut. That's where I'm gonna say a lot of the credit goes to, because whoever had the say on some of the edit and stuff like that, from what I've read, is what saved the movie, or what made it what it is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to somebody who has watched the director's cut and loves it. That'd be an interesting conversation. I don't see it.
It's not either one of us.
Especially there is some of those music cues I can't handle. When they get rid of them coming out of the school bus, they changed the music there, I believe. And it was just too jarring. Maybe I'm just too used to it, too set in my ways with Donnie. But
don't they change like the dance number music too in it?
I think so. Maybe, yeah. I think maybe at some point like the license runs out, or because it's a new publishing of the product or something. Maybe they don't have the budget to get it for this new version. That's probably what it was. But yeah, like Notorious in the original cut, I guess all the music was already put in the film, like Richard Kelly and whoever edited or whatever put it into the film, and it wasn't, they didn't know what to do with it. The studios didn't know what to do with it before they sold it to Newmarket to distribute. It kind of sat on the shelf with a bunch of different people. And actually, if it was for the pushing of, Drew Barrymore being a producer and believing in Richard Kelly, but also I read an article today that Christopher Nolan actually had something to say about the films that Newmarket was about to put out, because they had just put out Memento under Newmarket. So Chris Nolan, from what I read today, I read this article. I should have clicked to it. I don't know why I don't have it, but he was basically saying that they watched a few of the releases that they were planning to release under Newmarket that Newmarket had bought but didn't know what to do with, and Nolan and his wife urged him to release Donnie Darko. So I'm not making that up. I actually read it, but I read that on my phone much earlier in the day, and I didn't save it for this live stream. But that's crazy. Anyway, thanks for Donnie Darko, guys. 20 years on. Gee whiz. Felt like yesterday. I was only 17.
Yes, it does. I still feel like I'm 17. I think I still act like I'm 17.
Me, yeah, definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
Moving along, next we're going to watch a couple trailers here of films that are coming out, or films that look interesting to us that we wanted to commentate upon in this beautiful live stream that we have going. So I'm going to queue up the first one, if you'll give me a moment, folks. One of these days I'll have a little Jamie sidekick like Rogan does, who can load up my clips, but I don't. Right now I got to be the DJ. I got to be the producer. I got to mute this clip.
I just sit here and talk.
Yeah. Matty, distract him while I load this up. I'm almost ready.
This is water. It's really good.
I
think I'll watch watch Donnie Darko tonight.
Yeah, that's on Tubi for free as well, and YouTube, I think.
Actually, I did rent a movie from the Redbox today.
Nice.
And I'm interested. I hope it's good, but it's only at like a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes or something, so could go either way.
Right on.
But it looked interesting to me. The horror movie fan of me saw the trailer and went, it might have something.
Yes.
But it's really long. It's like 2 hours, and I was like, 2 hours plus, and I'm like, I don't know, a good horror movie, you got it, an hour 30, an hour and 45, 46 minutes.
I see.
I don't know. That's me, though. Okay. Are we done? Can I stop talking now?
So our first trailer we're going to check out is Willy's Wonderland, featuring Nicolas Cage. Some people are calling it a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff, but I never played Five Nights at Freddy's, so I don't know what anybody's talking about. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, now I can hear it.
Welcome to Willy's Wonderland. You spend the night cleaning Willy's Wonderland, and I will pay to have your car fixed. Deal? You are officially on staff. Let's get the hell out of here. I can't stand to hear a grown man scream.
This place has a dark history. I know the bullshit story they told you. It's a lie. You're here to be a human sacrifice. Have you been listening to a word I've been saying? He's gonna die in here, but he won't listen to me.
Creepy.
The machines got out. Nobody is safe. Ball's on, Evan. We're going to Willy's.
He's not trapped in here with them. They're trapped in here with him.
It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun. It's your birthday, so let's party. It's birthday time.
I enjoy a man a few words.
Nice.
I'm in. That looks fun.
Well, what do we think of that? It does look fun.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's supposed to be a pretty scary game. But I've never played it.
The animatronics look good. The puppetry possibly look really good. I love what Nick Cage is doing lately. He's you know, I mean, he's been doing this for a while, but embracing the nutso gonzo stuff. And they just get right to it. It's a little tongue-in-cheek. It reminds me of Showbiz Pizza from the 80s. Do you remember Showbiz Pizza?
Or Chuck E. Cheese, yeah.
Or Chuck E. Cheese, and they had those damn things. I always liked them, but when I was a kid, I knew they were creepy, and I liked them because they were creepy. So
I think the atmosphere is really good. There's a lot of good shots where stuff's coming out of the darkness as he's cleaning.
Yeah, and he's just a badass, man. Nowadays, you don't mess with him. I like how they build his character up. Like they're not in here with or whatever she said. I can't remember.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's pulpy. Maybe like a little hobo with a shotgun kind of esque feel. It'll be cool to see how those teenagers play into the whole scenario.
I hope they all die.
Yeah.
When that one girl talked, I was like, I don't know. I hope you're just fodder for the animatronic machines that have gone evil.
Yeah, definitely. Setting up the other clip here right now for y'all's
What's we watching next?
entertainment. Next up, we're going to watch Boss Level. This has Mel Gibson in it. I haven't actually seen a Mel Gibson movie in a very long time.
And Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo, who was in The Avengers. He was also in a bunch of other low-budget action films.
Yeah, I kind of like him. I like him in the stuff I've seen him in.
I like him too. I was hating on it in our chat, our Superhouse chat, but I'm interested to see Jiu-Jitsu. Nicolas Cage crazy stuff. Yeah, why not? A monster from space.
This is Joe Carnahan's new flick.
Oh shit! Hang on, my battery's dying. Be right back.
Oh god, I gotta do this alone. Any of you all watch Night Stalker on Netflix? If you have, please comment so we can talk about it. I thought it was awesome. Didn't realize I thought I knew a little bit about the Night Stalker, but I didn't know everything. The abduction stuff was new.
Hey.
Overall, it was really cool.
Apologies for that, folks. I did some moving around on my computer today, working on a few things, and I forgot the power cable was in another room. My computer died. Anyway, I'm back.
It was rough out here. I'm sweating.
It's getting rough. Thanks for hanging loose there, Matty. So we're gonna watch Boss Level next. It's got Mel Gibson in it. This is Joe Carnahan's newest. You were saying before my ship died.
Mm-hmm.
I like Joey Carnes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. He doesn't always knock it out of the park, but he's a solid filmmaker. So here we go. Without further ado, Boss Level.
Hey, Jake, can I get a large bottle of that baijiu? You know what? Make it 2 large bottles.
How can you drink like that?
I used to complain that every day felt the same, and now every day is the same. Hey, Jake, I have died 144 times, and every day ends like this. But it doesn't matter. Not when you've lost everything you've loved. Venter, man who had me killed 150 times.
The power to rewrite history is mine.
Heads up. I know everything that's gonna happen.
I'm being tortured!
One thing that never changes?
What's up, pretty boy?
Bunch of assholes killing me for reasons that remain a mystery.
I am Guan Yin, and Guan Yin has done this.
Eins, zwei, drei.
It's for you.
Roy, can you hear me?
I can't explain it right now, but I'm gonna need your help.
Gemma? The only woman I've ever loved and who can stop this is still alive. I have to get killed. Hi, Roy. Over and over again. Until I save her. I need to learn how to fight with a sword.
I would only have a day.
I think we can get a lot done in a day.
They gonna try and fool me.
Someone's been
Michelle
the
Yeoh don't know how
busiest
to use
little
a sword.
beaver.
I'm stuck in the death loop because of you.
Exactly.
Bring them all on. I can do this all day.
All right. Hey, I'm glad Joe Carnahan's still kicking, still in the game.
Yeah.
It looks fun. It looks ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
But I enjoyed Smoking Aces, even though it didn't seem to end up any place very consequential. But
Yeah.
the guy knows how to make some good, fun scenes, and Frank Grillo in like a starring role like this. That seems pretty cool. I could see more Frank Grillo movies. He could take the place for the Expendables, some of those older Expendable actors like Jason Statham and some of these other action heroes. He's kind of earning his place there in Hollywood, or has earned it. What am I saying? But pretty cool. What'd you think of that trailer?
I think it looks all right. I mean, I don't know. It's not breaking the mold or anything. I'm not like, oh my God,
Yeah.
will I watch it? Yeah. I will probably see it, most
I'll tell
likely.
you, it looks better than Free Guy to me. That
Oh,
movie with
yeah.
Ryan
I
Reynolds. that's
totally
supposed to
forgot
come
about
out.
that movie.
Oh man, they're apparently going to release it after all this stuff happens. I guess it's pretty big budgeted movie. Maybe I don't know.
Are they
why
going to
they're
wait
holding
till
off on it.
theaters open back up, or are they going to
That's
do
what
the
it
whole?
seems like. Yeah.
Oh,
Because it just has gone quiet so far, but maybe they'll release it.
That's-
I don't know, but this looks at least. I feel like I would enjoy this more, even though this one looks like it's kind of not really going to end up any place that's going to help humanity.
yeah. I think it's going to be like a Smoking Aces movie where you forget about it, and then years
Yeah.
go by, and it pops up on Netflix, and you're like, oh, I remember enjoying parts of that movie. I'll put it on, whatever, and then you put it on, and you say, oh, I'm going to do all this other stuff while I watch it, and then you get locked into it, and then it ends, and you go, all right, I guess it's okay.
He's like the American Guy Ritchie. It's like, oh, that's a Guy Ritchie movie. He does that kind of thing a lot. Joe Carnahan. But yeah, I enjoyed the Gray. Again, like he doesn't seem very great at endings. Maybe they're not very.
Yeah.
They don't really amount to a whole lot. It seems like, but I enjoy his movies.
I know the Gray kind of ends on a bleak note where you're like, I mean, could one of these guys have survived?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you're like, yeah, he beat the shit out of that wolf, and then he got dinner after. It's
no,
like,
he killed that wolf, but he died too.
yeah,
Sad movie.
definitely. But it's enjoyable to watch, and Liam Neeson's gonna quit. He's gonna retire from action movies here pretty soon, apparently. So,
Oh yeah,
So, celebrate
just
the
gonna
career
do
of Liam
comedies?
Neeson and his action movies by watching The Gray. I don't know what he's gonna do. I hope to Christ he doesn't do another Love Actually. Honestly, I hope nobody does another Love Actually. That would just be great. That's not a racist sign. I'm taking it old school. That just means it's please and thank you. Wait, I don't know. You know what I mean.
I was like, what's happening on this?
You don't know about that? There was these racist guys that were using.
No,
their
I
hand
knew
sign
about
things. Oh,
about
okay.
that. I just didn't know why you were throwing it up.
Oh, because
I was like, huh.
wonderful. Anyway, I'll stop doing it because now we're flagged by the feds. Son of a
oh
bitch.
God.
Anyway, our next trailer, Bing Bada Boom. We're gonna watch this one. I'm excited about. I have seen this trailer before yet already. It looks wacky as hell. There's a kind of a running theme of tonight's discussion about how wacky all this stuff is. But I tell you what, there's ads I gotta click through, and that's BS. I hate commercials. Anyway, I'm getting it set up here. Maddie, go ahead and entertain everybody while I do it. Do a dance. You don't dance enough. Dance more.
This is all I got. I can turn my head side to side. I can do some.
All right, I'm ready.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. Let me.
I was just getting into it though.
You're really good.
Whatever.
You're good.
Okay, thank you.
You're good, buddy. Thanks for. All right, here we go. Psycho Goreman, coming at you.
Many moons ago.
Wait, I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Many moons ago, a nameless evil was imprisoned in a place far beyond.
I don't think I've seen this actually.
Hurry up!
If he were ever to be released, it would spell certain doom for all existence.
Is that fear I smell? Your planet will be torn to pieces, and I will trade your endless screams as I rip.
Is this yours? B?
Oh my god.
The gem of Paraxidike. Whoever wields it is able to command me.
Go over there and wait for us to come back in the morning.
You will suffer an eternity for this.
Mom, Dad, I want you to meet Psycho Goreman, or PG for short.
I will bathe in your blood.
Don't worry.
Be worried.
He's gonna kill everybody. Not unless I tell him to.
What did you three maniacs get up to?
This is getting a little weird.
This sick game must come to an end. She will enslave the galaxy into endless servitude. Kill him!
Cool.
The ultimate evil has awoken.
There's a new god in town, and his name? Psycho Goreman. It was nice meeting you.
It would be nicer if you were dead.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
That looks amazing.
That looks
I
so
cannot wait to
funny.
watch that.
Yeah, Psycho Goreman looks awesome. The makeup effects in it obviously looks low budget, but has that aesthetic. What's that? Spectrovision? Is that who's behind this?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it has that same kind of VHS throwback 90s, early 90s, late 80s aesthetic that goes so well with this type of movie. That little girl looks like she's going to stand out quite a bit. She's hilarious. All those kids so far, from what I can tell, all seem pretty funny.
I like that they just accept it, and they're just like, I love when stuff is just like, this is the world, and they accept it. There's not any of this like them running away from it. She's like, this is cool. I am this fucking killer from outer space or wherever.
I wish I found a space demon when I was a kid. That'd have been a hell of a lot better than taking out the trash.
Yeah, you would have just had him do it for you.
He's smart. He would have been with me, Matty. I'm trying to point out. He would have been with me, helping me make those decisions. Because otherwise, we would have just sat around.
I think this comes out pretty soon to stream. Like you can rent it pretty soon. But I'm just trying to find a specific date.
Shudder.
But I couldn't.
It said Shudder there, so I'm not sure when it comes out. Maybe the trailer had said something. Maybe the YouTube channel said something. It says January 22nd, baby. January 22nd.
Soon.
We'll be talking about that one on the Overly Critical Hyperanalytical Movie Club.
I don't know if it'll drop on Shudder though. Usually they give it a couple of days for people to rent it, and then like next month or March or something they'll drop it on Shudder. So
we'll schedule accordingly.
There's a movie I've been waiting for I want to watch called The Dark and the Wicked, but I think next month it drops. The guy who did The Strangers.
Oh, nice.
It's his new horror movie. It's supposed to be pretty cool. It's got some pretty good reviews. The Dark and the Wicked.
The Dark and the Wicked. That sounds awesome.
Not super into the title, but it looks like a possession movie, and I am a sucker for those.
All right.
So
that sounds good to me. So those were our trailers. That was our trailer segment for this episode. We'll be back with more trailers and more reviews and showing you some new stuff that's coming out, much like we did with Space Sweepers, which I found out is Korean, not Chinese. I just wanted to go ahead and correct that here right now. Next up, we're going to talk about SYNCHRONIC. A review of SYNCHRONIC. What is SYNCHRONIC? Well, I'm going to pull up the IMDb page or the Wikipedia and read you the synopsis.
And they're going to tell us, and then we're going to tell you.
It's a 2019 American science fiction horror film directed and produced by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, top-notch filmmakers. Written by Benson. He's a pretty good writer, I would say. And it stars Jamie Dornan and Anthony Mackie. It had its world premiere at the 2019 Toronto International Film Festival. Here, I'll just read this little premise that they got going here. Steve is a ladies' man, and Dennis is married with 2 children. In their work as paramedics on the late shift, they begin to encounter a series of people dead or in a strange state. After some exploration, they discover it relates to a new designer drug called SYNCHRONIC. Steve discovers he only has 6 weeks to live, decides to buy up all the SYNCHRONIC in town and to protect others, only to discover he has a time travel pill that may help him find his partner's missing daughter. Steve chronicles how the pill works with different forms of ingestion affecting different scales of time travel until he finally returns to the tension of trying to discover what happened to Brianna, his partner's daughter. So that was a user-written premise, so they kind of gave a few things away. Not really gave it away, but that's kind of what you're looking at here. It's a time travel movie of sorts. I mean, I guess it is a time travel movie.
It is.
About this pill called SYNCHRONIC that they take, and you time travel. Well, you don't know this right away, but you end up.
I mean, I think when the movie first starts, you can kind of see some weird stuff is starting to happen.
Yeah. One thing I really enjoyed about the beginning of the movie was how they were getting some of the storytelling across, like the first 5 minutes, and they were bouncing from character to character to relay information and further develop the scene was really cool. I was like, man, this is awesome. Jason Benson is such a great writer, or their blocking and directing and stuff like that is just really, it's really engaging, and they're really pushing. There's where you had somebody like Noah Hawley who's doing what I feel is kind of like some revolutionary filmmaking stuff. These guys are hot on the heels of chasing down multiple awards, multiple blockbuster films in the future for sure. They're incredible. How do you feel about SYNCHRONIC, Matty?
I really like it. So my favorite film by them is a movie called Spring. It's a horror love story. And it kind of delves more into the Lovecraftian, which the Endless also dives a little bit to that Lovecraftian territory. So I was kind of hoping this wouldn't be so time travel. I was hoping to be like maybe they go to another dimension kind of drug but after I watched it the first time and I was a little let down, and then I watched it a second time, and now knowing what it is, I enjoyed it a lot more. I love these guys. I think they're making some of the best horror sci-fi out there right now that people aren't talking about. It's not Noah Hawley has he has his fans from Fargo and the other stuff he's put his name on, but I feel like these guys are still so recently they're going to do some Moon Knight episodes for Marvel is their first really big thing. Yeah. But I mean, they've been around for several years and no one's paid attention to them, which to me is give these guys some money, let them do what they want.
Yeah.
And I was
thinking, go ahead.
Oh, I was psyched for SYNCHRONIC because they got Anthony Mackie in it, who's pretty big now with his, he did those little Marvel movies and stuff. So I was pretty stoked that they got him to get them maybe some a bigger audience that maybe wouldn't normally seek out their films. Right.
Totally. Yeah. And, I was kind of on the fence about Anthony Mackie other than Falcon, and what I saw him in 8 Mile. And this makes me want to go and watch the next season of Altered Carbon. I was enjoying Altered Carbon, but I heard not so great things about the second season. But you know what? I really enjoy Anthony Mackie, and this movie really made me fall in love with him here. He took this kind of, in some ways it's a little bit of this is a stretch by saying it, but it's a little bit of a superhero film in a way. There's his character's given an ability of sorts to be able to withstand the more intense aspects of this drug. I mean, they had me at drug sci-fi movie right at the beginning when those kids took the pill and they get transported to X, Y, and Z. I was like, this is pretty cool. Not to mention it was handled very well in terms of the quality filmmaking that you get from these guys. So I'm really excited to go back. The only movie I've seen previously to this one was The Endless, which I also really enjoyed. And that one's kind of a mind bender, timey-wimey, altered dimension kind of cult film. So boom, there you go watch it. It's great. And it was kind of apropos to be talking about Donnie Darko right at the beginning, because I feel like it's a film like that these guys kind of took some of those things, but I think they handle it in a much more mature and, dare I say, much smarter way than Donnie Darko. As much as I love Donnie Darko, these guys really are handling fire much like somebody who handles fire really well. Prometheus, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that, but I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really solid. I'm so glad you recommended it for our review. These guys are really good filmmakers, and the cast was good. All the actors are really good in it. There's a couple moments of dialogue, in my opinion, that are kind of like, mainly that one cop who's kind of like supposed to be the annoying cop or whatever.
You're dressing like Tupac.
Yeah, sometimes you have characters like that, and I get what it sounds like on the page or whatever, what they're trying to go for. But sometimes that actor, it's like, one, I don't believe him as being like some bad attitude guy, and two, well, he just doesn't, they didn't really they didn't sell it very well. They didn't sell the lines very well, and then some parts like that, minor gripes really.
So some of that stuff I forgive them for, because I know like in The Endless, they made that. I went and saw this movie at the SIFF here in Seattle, which is a great venue for independent films, and so they came and introduced the movie. We watched it, and then like they had a discussion afterwards. It was amazing. I saw them walking around the lobby, and I was like, got this star-studded because I love the movie Spring so much. It's like it's in my top films of all time. And I was just like, how do I talk to these people? I just like couldn't talk, and I wanted to ask all these questions, and I just got really nervous and couldn't do it. What they did with The Endless was they were being shopped around by. They would go to all these meetings for like big Hollywood studios. They were saying, and they'd be like, we drink this fancy water, and they'd be like, yeah, we want you guys to do whatever, and they're like, oh, cool, we have this idea, and they'd be like, well, we don't want to do that, and they're like, well, what the? And they said they just kept going to these meetings for like a year, and they didn't make a movie, and they're like, wait, we didn't get into this to not make movies. So they made The Endless with like their friends, and like the soundtrack's done by the Album Leaf which is a great group. It's like one guy, but he's friends with him, and he did the soundtrack for basically nothing. And that's why they're the main stars. Yeah, I mean, they're the main stars of that movie, and they're not. They don't really classify themselves as actors, but they're like, we couldn't afford to hire people. We just wanted to make a movie. So I think genius. My theory is for Synchronic is they paid Jamie Dornan and Anthony Mackie and the other people who are probably named, and all the background characters are probably friends, and it's shot in New Orleans. You can kind of tell if you've ever been there. As soon as it like goes into the city, you're like, oh, that's New Orleans, that's Louisiana.
It's a great setting, and the only other film that I can think of that is somewhat like this is Bringing Out the Dead by Scorsese, that has those two paramedics have like that really crazy night. This movie definitely is not that, but it's like when I was watching this, I was like, oh, this is cool. I would love more subgenre of like crazy adventures that EMTs get down into, horror or sci-fi related.
I mean,
this was fresh.
I have a good friend who was an EMT for a while, and he would tell me some of his, like his first call out was like this guy's arm was like dangling from a tendon after a car accident. So like when they go into this and it's like a guy's been stabbed with a sword, and like Anthony Mackie stabs himself with a heroin needle, in the first like 10 minutes of this movie, it's like, this is what these paramedics deal with, these EMT guys and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it was executed really well, and especially in those first like 10, 15 minutes of the movie where they just, maybe not just the first 10 or 15 minutes, but throughout the film, anytime they go to one of these scenes or whatever, they're pretty intense. I get like a little squeamish, honestly, the way that they execute it. Very matter of fact, and very, the effects in this movie across the board are really good, for what you can probably guess their budget might have been.
And I know that I think it's Moorhead that went to school for like computer effects. And he does a lot of the effects work. He did like all the effects work on The Endless because they didn't have a budget really. Right. So I'm wondering if he did some of the effects work on this. So they're really cool filmmakers in that they try to do a lot of stuff themselves. And like, it seems like like for the actors we were talking about, I'm assuming they probably did a casting call for people who just wanted to be amateur actors. And they're like, yeah, man, let's just do it. Like the community needs to be involved in this, because that's the way they seem to make their films. So I think that's really interesting. And I'll take some bad acting moments to like, support a neighborhood and,
so certainly. Certainly,
Yeah, so
it's
I really like these guys. I definitely think they're doing what they want and on their own terms. It's going to be interesting to see how Moon Knight. But I was going to say I really like the relationship between Jamie Dornan and Anthony Mackie's character. I feel like they dropped us into that relationship and didn't really explain much, except like when they would talk about stuff that happened to them when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the two actors just got along really well, and it seemed like they had been friends for a really long time. And
they both seem really genuine as dudes, and both their performances were like really, really good. There were certain nuances to Anthony Mackie's performance, especially when he gets into like documenting his experience and stuff, that I really, moments of comedy that he would kind of dip in and out of from the more serious tone of the scene or whatever that were really funny. Like when he's saying the past sucks ass or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking conquistador.
I love when he's drunk and he's like, fuck Back to the Future. If I went back in time and played a Chuck Berry song, they would have killed me or whatever. Yeah, get arrested for that shit. Yeah.
So it was, his performance was good and yeah, very, very real between these two guys, these two main characters, and the circumstances that Jamie Dornan's character is going throughout the film are, I love how there's like that very real world, serious, grounded, weighted thing that's happening to one character, and then the other character is having this kind of like more miraculous, more otherworldly or out of this world, however you want to say it, beyond comprehension kind of experience.
Yeah. I like the relationship because when like it comes to the point where he has to tell him, I'm going to get your daughter back by time traveling with some pills. There's a moment of, wow, that's insane, but this is my best bud.
Yeah.
And he would never lie to me. We've been through tough times and he wouldn't make up some shit. Like, it's like if Stefan came to me in Seattle and was like, dude, I got to time travel from Seattle to save the earth. I'd be like, what do I need to do, dude? Am I sitting back? Am I just waiting? Or can I help you?
Grab a plunger, grab a bag full of junk mail, get some snacks, and grab that skateboard over there, and we gotta go.
But that's what I liked about their relationship a lot. Was like there was that moment of like, what the fuck, but it was never like you're a crazy person now. And I feel like that's how it would be with like Stefan, like a best bud. He'd be like, dude, this needs to happen. I'm like, you've never given me any reason not to doubt you. So yes, we're time traveling. Let's do it. I'll sit by this rock. I'll wait, dude. You're going to bring my fucking daughter back. I cannot wait, Yeah.
We wake up by the dumpster. I'm like, actually, it was crack.
Yeah.
Do you have any money?
Yeah. Yes, dude. I'll help you until it gets
you really think about it, this is kind of like a Philip K. Dick, more serious version of Bill and Ted with drugs. I guess that's the Philip K. Dick part, but
yeah, there's no phone booth.
That kind of thing.
There's no
but yeah, otherwise, I really enjoyed this movie. I really like these guys' movies too. I'm really glad that your fandom has kind of latched on to me and is growing a grotesque demon of Moorhead and Benson appreciation on my back and into my mind.
Honestly, if you're someone who is watching this live or watching it on YouTube later, if you're in a spot where you're like, man, all movies suck, just check out any one of their films.
Yeah,
I think they're making creative stuff, even if you're not super into everything that they do and the low budgetness of it. It's still it surprises me no one's thrown them money to make something more grandiose.
Right.
So I'm hoping that this Marvel step will get them maybe a Marvel movie, or because I think they'd be great with a bigger budget flick.
I was honestly thinking, not considering Todd McFarlane's new pitch for a Spawn movie, I feel like these guys could make like a Spawn or a Crow or something like that, some real kind of dark, pulpy comic hero. I think these guys would
do
with Marvel.
Yeah, I think these guys would be great for a Constantine, a Swamp Thing, any of the even to more so more the offbeat Vertigo characters like Animal Man or some of these kind of crazier, which is great for Moon Knight because I've never read any Moon Knight comics. I want to read some. I know Jeff Lemire did a run. I'm a huge fan of his, so I'm going to check those out. But he's a schizophrenic superhero that has the power of a god. Basically, I think I'm right.
Yeah.
So just seeing their other films, like they're tailor made to do episodes of this show, and with a Marvel budget. If you haven't watched WandaVision, just to see the kind of budget that they're going to be putting in, or even the trailers for Falcon and Winter Soldier and the money they're putting into these TV shows, they look like big budget spectacles, man.
They know everybody's at home right now, so they're bringing the in-theater experience to us. They have no other choice. So everything's, at least it feels and seems like it's getting better. And, well, what can I say? More cinematic, more movie-esque, especially with that technology that they have over there at Disney, that stagecraft stuff, more of that backlit LED screen stuff. Like, there's a shot in Synchronic where Anthony Mackie, he arrives to like a war zone in like the 1600s or some shit, and the background is obviously green screen and stuff like that, but for the budget they had, probably they really made that scene very convincing with how much depth the background had. Once that stagecraft technology is disseminated a little bit further into Hollywood and more films like that, we're going to start seeing really great movies on par with like Lord of the Rings that are going to be for a fraction of the budget, probably. I'm hoping. That's what I'm thinking. It's my theorizing, but the future is wild, baby. The future of movies, even wilder. But out of 10 time travel pills, what do you give Synchronic?
I have a question for you after this. I'm going to go with I don't know. I like it. It's just not my favorite, and I wanted a little more from it. But just because I like their horror stuff, and I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think it deserves that, and maybe upon more viewings, I'll come around to it. I just I really love what they did in Spring and the horror aspect, and I want to see them do more of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's just my own shit. I need to get over that hurdle.
This one's kind of a palate cleanser, if you will, for some of their other films that have come a little bit more dark in their execution. This one is, I would say, probably their most accessible film. Anthony Mackie notwithstanding. It definitely, you could watch it with the fam. It's a little intense at times, but it's not going to leave you kind of, I know some people out there don't like horror movies. I don't get it. It like really scares them in real life. So, this one is not quite as scary as such. It actually has a nice resolve that I think everybody can enjoy.
Some gore moments,
but you never know. Yeah, there's some really good. There's some.
Good one of my. I'm gonna ask. I want to know your rating, but I want to say one of my favorite things is a little detail. Every time he takes and manipulates materials and stuff, and I love how his outfit, like his jacket, gets molded and like it doesn't remember what this Carhartt jacket looked like almost, and his like beanie starts folding in these weird ways when he comes back. Nothing really happens to him that we know, like physically. I mean, his character is diagnosed with cancer, so at that point you're probably like, fuck it, I don't care if I feel bad, I'm gonna die anyway, I gotta go save my bestie's daughter. But I really love that detail of just like sewing like pieces together and making this jacket slowly each time he does it, because once he realizes he can be dropped into any time period, the Ice Age, he wears like this kind of get up just in case he's faced with like cold weather, basically, which is smart. You never know.
He was gearing up and stuff, and that was definitely a nice trippy element to it. That's a good touch. I'll have to look for that again next time I watch it. Was that your question? What were you gonna ask?
No, I want your rating first, and then we're gonna.
Oh yeah, out of 10 get in this. Time travel, drugs, pills, I give this one. I'm gonna go ahead and say we're always pretty close. I think this one kind of, since you gave it an 8 and it's not your favorite out of the Benson and Moorhead, I'm gonna give it a 9. I
want to do that, but I need you to watch Spring. I need everyone on here to watch Spring.
I'm gonna watch Spring. I'm gonna give this.
But now I've
we're gonna average it out.
Much. People are gonna be like, "That movie sucks. Synchronic's better," and I'm like, "Shut up."
We'll average it out. I say collectively, it's probably an 8.5. But kind of like I've been really enjoyed your recommendations these last couple of times. They've really taken me by surprise. It's like,
Stefan thinks I have terrible taste in movies. It's finally coming out.
No, I have terrible taste. No, after Wonder Woman, it's been a little hard to recover. And want to sit through movies and make the investment, make the commitment. But lately the movies that we've been reviewing for the show have been awesome. And I highly recommend that you watch Synchronic and jump piggyback on Maddie's recommendation that you watch these Benson and Moorhead films. And look out for these guys. They're coming. They're coming.
And
for
most of them you can watch on like the ones that are like free with ads. You just have to do a little research, which I know those aren't ideal to watch a film, but if you're on a budget, I think Endless is on Netflix. It has been for I think a year now or so. You would have to buy Synchronic, or it is at the Red Box. I saw it when I rented something earlier today. And I think Spring and you said Spring is on the
Tubi.
like Tubi
Yeah,
and other sites. I think it's on the Roku channel too, if you have one of those, and might be on Vudu's like free streaming if you download that app.
Well.
And then Resolution, their first flick, which kind of ties into the Endless. You don't have to watch it to watch the Endless, but it does make the world seem a little bigger and very cool. It is a slow burn, Resolution, but the ending is well worth it. I think that used to be on Netflix. That's where I first saw it, but I think it's also on like those other free with ads kind of things. But they only have 4 flicks. I mean, that's a weekend, guys. Get through it. Come on. What are you doing? Nothing, because we can't go outside. So my question for you, Stefan, is if Synchronic existed, would you take it?
Fucking A.
I knew you'd say yes.
I've gone to
I'm
Burning
a safety
Man a couple
boy,
times.
so I'm going to say no. Scared.
However, I would hope that I'm smart enough to realize something during the process of it, and that I don't like go run into traffic or get impaled by something. Or
dude, you got to stay in your same spot. There are rules to this world.
Yeah,
this
I
drug.
would hope that I had a savvy guide who knew a little bit of what was going on with Synchronic, and they gave it to me. Usually, if I try any kind of psychedelic, I usually do it with people I trust, friends that I know. So if Synchronic ever came,
I'll do it with
probably.
you. I'd do it with
definitely. Honestly, our buddy Chris Lee, I'm gonna shout him out. He'd probably be the one with Synchronic, and we probably sit there, all 3 of us, and time travel.
And he'd be the one that's like, let's go look over here, and I'd be like, I'm a safety boy. I'm staying on this fucking rock, dude.
One thing I would do is grab my little pouch that I keep my weed supplies in, and maybe a drink, just in case. A water bottle, probably more than anything. You don't go on a hike without a water bottle. I'm sure we'd figure it out.
You don't time travel without a water bottle either. Yeah. Or,
It's worth thinking about. It's worth talking about. Yes, definitely. And I
figured you'd see it.
I do. One more thing about the movie is
wouldn't do about myself though. Too scared.
Yeah, I like how urban legendy it kind of feels with this synthetic drug. I tried K2 one time in Chicago, that synthetic weed or whatever, and it was bad news. It just made my head hurt more than anything. But the more you read about it, it's like it was basically like kind of like bath salts.
Are there so I don't know that much about drugs. I kind of, if I was going to take one, I would refer to Stefan or Chris about how I should go about doing it. Are there a lot of synthetic drugs? Like, how far fetched is this concept? I mean, besides being time travel.
That's what's cool about it. Yeah, is like besides the time travel, is like there's a lot of these over the counter. Like you go to a head shop, they can't really sell you any kind of substance. They can sell you tobacco and pipes and things, and they call this a water pipe or this or that and the other. But especially those little bodega stores that you find in like Chicago and New York and everywhere, you find these little kind of cheapy bodega stores.
There's one up the street from me.
Yeah, behind the counter they'll usually have some kind of like synthetic. If it's not dick pills, which there's a lot of those, there's actually a blog you can find where a guy tests out all the different dick pills and tells you which ones are good.
His name's Wolfie. He's on YouTube video.
I haven't yet actually tried them, but I did learn about that from our friend Chris Lee, so we'll have to have him on at some point. But anyway,
that'll be fun.
Besides the dick pills, there, I don't know how much they do it anymore, but this is kind of how Salvia Diviniverum got distributed, and K2 and a lot of black ice and a lot of these other synthetic drugs that get packaged and sold, and they sell like a few $100,000, and then they get illegal-fied. But don't do them. And if you're going to do anything, do it with the friend that you trust. That was one thing. A lot of these young people in this movie that were doing the drug, they already seem like riffraff, like a little irresponsible in their usage. But hey, that happens.
I mean, they're young, or they were already addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
Seems
if you want an interesting rabbit hole, that's true. If you want an interesting YouTube rabbit hole or Reddit rabbit hole, look up all that shit that happened with Silk Road. There's actually a movie about that being shot right now. I think it is already shot, about the dude who ran the first online anonymous basically drug Amazon, where you could order pretty much any kind of drug or
Nice.
substance you wanted. It's a crazy
Is
story.
Is it a documentary or more like a?
Well, I'm just saying, you go on YouTube, that you can find like videos about like how everything transpired. The guy who was running Silk Road ended up actually like trying to pay for people to get murdered and things like that. And
oh my god,
it's crazy.
I
some of
watched
the
that
messages
Netflix
back and forth.
documentary.
Yeah. So, but they're doing like a narrative film about it. I think it's just going to be called The Silk Road. I think they're either filming it now or it has been filmed, but it'll outline the whole story. But if you want to get a jump on that,
Who's in
go
it?
ahead and, I don't know. Like I didn't remember.
Oh.
But look it up sometime if you like a weird rabbit hole about drugs, which those are often fun sometimes. Anything else to add before I lead us out?
Well, I was just gonna see what you've been watching besides Synchronic. Anything else that people should know about besides drug rabbit holes?
I'm glad you asked. I finally discovered the Orville. The Orville is great. I have not been the biggest Seth MacFarlane fan. I'm not the biggest Family Guy fan. I do like American Dad, and I loved the first couple seasons of American Dad before I kind of felt like it was doing too much of the same. But, I had a friend who's constantly telling me, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Family Guy's actually great. But anyway, the Orville is Star Trek The Next Generation, except they're talking about our problems now. And it's great. It's so much fun. It's essentially the same aesthetic of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, that era of Star Treks, but it's that Seth MacFarlane brand of comedy. But not just him. Everybody in the show is awesome. Super funny. They get into such great predicaments. The aliens are cool, and they know they're Star Trek, so they're really building from a nice deep pool of inspiration. I really love it. I'm glad I finally am watching it.
You know what's weird about that? I just watched season 1 of Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, I gotta watch that too.
I enjoyed it. I'm not a
I have seen the first season. It's good.
I got drunk one night, and I started watching Star Trek Beyond, and I said, you know what? I really want to revisit this whole trilogy. So I bought the trilogy, and I rewatched it, and I got hooked. I said, you know what? I need some more Star Trek in my life. And I didn't want to go backwards. I wanted to go forward. I wanted to see some of the newer stuff that was happening. So I watched Star Trek Discovery Season 1, and I've started the first episode of Season 2, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, so maybe people hate it, but I thought it's pretty cool. Love Doug Jones, and there's a main alien.
Yeah, the aliens are great.
In it, I love creatures, man. And Doug Jones is the best creature actor out there, and it's great that he's in the show and getting his due. I mean, he was in Shape of Water, but,
yeah,
like seeing that guy work. And then I watched the Netflix documentary Night Stalker.
Yeah, I
and
watched that as well.
That was very good.
It was good.
Very upsetting. Not easy to watch, but if you're into it, it's very cool. There's some stuff I didn't know about.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the
good.
Night Stalker doc was pretty awesome. It's a pretty brisk roll through some pretty heavy subject matter. I noticed in that one they didn't dwell so much on the acts of his. A lot of times, podcasts or even in your own research, you kind of like absorb those kind of things, the fascination of this kind of like state of mind or whatever. That's kind of what I get out of it. But I like, at first I was like, oh, there's so much more to the story, like the grisly details, but you don't really need them. And they tell the cop story in it. And it was a really nice way to handle that entire narrative and like what went down, because they did a good job of not glorifying Richard Ramirez for like the celebrity of being a killer, but kind of, addressing how messed up everything is, but then also the clock is ticking and how are they going to get this guy off the streets. It's really harrowing. I really enjoyed it as well. Yeah.
No, I did as well. I thought it was great. I didn't realize that the abduction stuff that he did and then let these kids go. It's just, I think the most shocking,
shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's shocking, and the murders definitely are atrocious. Yeah. But the thing that like fucked me up the most was probably just the groupies. And like, I understand that this culture existed, but I've just like, I don't know. If you like, I don't get it. Like, he molested small children and has murdered people, and you want to sleep with them and marry them. It just doesn't. Yeah. I mean, if you were accidentally accused of murdering someone and you were just like an attractive looking guy, I could maybe get the groupie. I could get it. And you went to prison and you were falsely accused, or it was an accident, and whatever. I could get that. I can maybe get behind the groupie situation, but like this guy killed like 14 plus 15 people on the listed countless. I don't get it, man.
Right,
it blows my
yeah.
mind. I
I
can't wrap
know.
my head around it.
I think that lady was right. That a lot of them are dumb bitches, to be frank.
Greatest line from the documentary, by the way.
She was awesome. It's like, and then it's funny because I've also been watching The World's Toughest Prisons on Netflix. I get down on that. I'm like fascinated by how somebody lives through prison and this kind of thing. So there's lots of shows out there about that kind of thing. But but there was a prison this guy goes and visits in Sweden, and there's this prolific serial killer who's there, and this prolific serial killer has a conversation with him and actually invites him to meet his wife, who's like 22 years old or whatever. And he asks her like, why? What is this? Like, aren't you afraid he's like at any moment going to snap and want to kill you too? You're his perfect victim or whatever. And she kind of is at a loss for words as to why. And, it's just kind of, you can see it's just kind of this fascination with this character and maybe some disturbing context to her own life in the background that leads her to this. But she has a kid with this dude, and it's like, it's nuts, man. Life is crazy. It's crazy beautiful on this side of the spectrum, and it's crazy chaotic on another side of the spectrum, and we're all just kind of intermingling and dancing in the soup, if you will. Much like the events of Synchronic, there seemed to be something kind of happening one after the other, kind of falling into another situation, which is good storytelling, but also, life itself is got the pen. Life itself is writing the story. So who knows what remains to be seen for us, if we'll remain in this time, or if we'll be in another dimension, or if the aliens already even got us. So
they got us.
Who
it's
knows?
Over.
Anyway, with that all being said, if you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/overlycriticalmovieclub. I actually took a look at our Patreon page today, and it was pretty bare bones, and I had really been neglecting it. And there was only a $10 tier. Nobody's going to give us $10 right off. We just got in the room, really, more than anything. But anyway, so I've added a new tier that's $3 if you'd like to support the show and be a junior producer, an OHCA Movie Club junior producer. We'll give you a credit in each episode, credited as a junior producer for $3 a month subscription. You can do it once or whatever as well. If you want to give us any kind of money, we'll go ahead and give you a shout out. Faux show. There's also the premium club membership that I have going there. Much more to add, more graphics, more merch, and all kinds of stuff like that. But that I dropped down to $5 a month if you want early access to bonus content, which we'll be working on, as well as other stuff like artwork and stuff that we're going to be putting out. So stay tuned for that. Go to the Patreon. I'll be adding to it later tonight and through the weekend, and there'll be a little bit more options for folks who do feel like they want to support us. If you'd like to just support us in any way, just give us a like on these posts, share these posts. This will be on YouTube. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search Overly Critical Movie Club. You'll find us. Those links will also be associated with the posts of these videos when they show up on YouTube and Instagram, and they'll be sure to show up in the group as well. If you'd like to follow us on Instagram, Overly Critical Movie Club, and that little @ symbol before it, as well as I'm at Wolfie Cruz for my kind of personal Instagram photography stuff, and at Wolfie Cruz art for my illustration work, which I got a bunch of new stuff to post there, and we're trying to get some t-shirts made and stuff. And at Old Beardo if you want to see Matty's artwork and his pics and his life, what little the enigmatic sage himself will let you see. Anyway, also go check out the feature-length film that I worked on when I was just a little youngin' out of college called Colfax and 15th, made with a bunch of Denver filmmakers and actors. Just go to this address you see down at the bottom here. Go give us a like. Go to that YouTube page. Give us a like. I'm almost done with this definitive cut. By the end of this month, I should have that ready to go for everybody to see. I will keep you updated. And I also, once again, wanted to plug my buddy's album, Requiem for a Sound Mind by Image Dragon. Again, not to be confused with Imagine Dragons. They're punks. He's the cool shit. It's a pretty well-produced, it's a really well-produced hip-hop, kind of eclectic, new age, a little bit of R&B in there, a little bit of new wave, It's some good shit. So go give my buddy some love over there. And other than that, shit, I'm out of breath. Thank
It's a
you all
lot.
for, thank you all for joining us. Thanks for bearing with some of these technical difficulties. I'm still trying to learn here. I think I may try and do a little less, and that might help me stay from, losing attention and losing connection and shit like that. But, on the YouTube channel, that shit will be edited out. So this is Wolfie signing off. Peace out.
This is Matty. Bye-bye.
See you in the club. See you in the chats.
Can't
Thanks,
go
Dan
to a
Crozer
club.
for
COVID.
for his comments. That's true. Well, the movie.
Don't go to the club. 6 feet apart. Wear those masks. We're almost
right.
through it.
Almost there. Oh, and happy Inauguration Day, guys, for those who are feeling relieved in a political sense and are feeling like a bright new future is ahead of us. Congrats to those all who voted that way, and, the other side. Open a dialogue. Do what the man says. Let's bring the country back together. That's all I have to say about it. I'm political in my own right, but I'm not super political on my show. But anyway, we'll see you guys later. Love ya.